The word of the day is power. Many years ago, when my grandparents were still alive, they decided to sell part of their property to get a little money. They had a pretty good piece of property, but they didn't have very much cash money. And my dad was helping them sell some of their property just to get a little money in case they needed it. There was a few acres that were across the road from the rest of the property, and that was the land they decided to sell. At the very upper side of it, there was a house with a drain that ran out into the edge of their property, and my dad didn't realize it. There was also a gully that had eroded down the front side of it, and he was over there trying to fill in the gully with a small crawler, thinking that that would make the property more valuable. As he worked with the crawler, he didn't realize he had got into the area where this drain poured out into the field and got the crawler stuck. I told him, I said, Dad, you ought to go get Paul's tractor, my granddaddy's tractor, and see if we can pull it out before it gets any worse. He said, it won't pull it out, so we're just going to have to dig it out. So we were shoveling and working and working. We never could get it out that way. And this crawler actually belonged to another one of my uncles, my dad's brother. He came by. He said, well, I'm friends with the guy over here that has a crane. So that crane's supposed to pick up a weight that's heavier than that crawler. I'll go get him to bring the crane over here. So he went and got the crane and brought it over here. They hooked it to the crawler and tried to pick the crawler up out of the mud. It wouldn't move it. My dad finally gave in and let us go get my granddaddy's tractor. With the crane and the tractor that my granddaddy had, we still couldn't move it because the crawler had sunk down into the ground and the mud had suction on it where it was in that mud. Well, another one of my uncles came up the road. He worked for one of the biggest farmers in the county at the time, and he had a brand new tractor that was the biggest one that John Deere actually sold at the time they bought it. They called the tractor Big Lou. My uncle said, I'll go get Lou. I'll be back in a little bit. Well, it wasn't a few minutes till I looked up and I saw this tractor coming up the road. It took up the whole road. It was a big tractor. He pulled out in there, and we got a chain and hooked it to the back of the disc harrow that was hooked to this tractor. He didn't even take it loose. He just brought disc harrow and all. We hooked the chain to the crawler, and the guy on the crane said, I'm going to pick up while you pull. My uncle said, you can do whatever you want to. When the tractor tightened the chain up, he started pulling crawler, crane, and everything. The guy on the crane had to turn the crane cables loose to keep him from turning the crane over. When the big power got there, it was no trouble to move the crawler. It was unstuck in just a few minutes. During this pandemic, people are looking for all kinds of sources of power. But there's a power that's bigger than anything else that we can count on. And that power is God. If we'll trust in Him and His power, we will get through this okay. He can stop this virus, and He can carry us through. Have a great day.